Croatia continued with their 4-3-3 structure, as they too remained unchanged from their semi-final victory over England. They made the most effective early progress, as they harried France into repeated mistakes in possession. Right-back Sime Vrsaljko maintained his high positioning, combining well with Ante Rebic ahead of him. France soon realized that blocking off Croatia's wide access would prove key. When Antoine, Griezmann and Olivier Giroud remained high and central when defending, Luka Modric and Ivan Rakitic dropped into deeper central positions. From here, both could receive within the inside channel and drive around the sides of the two forwards, thus penetrating their opponent's first line of defense. Blaise Matuidi or Kylian Mbappé were then forced to press, as Modric and Rakitic drove forward unchallenged. This eventually freed the Croatian fullbacks, who could then combine with their wingers in the channels. Ivan Perisic in particular made early progress along the left side, as Benjamin Pavard was often caught out trying to make forward progress himself. As a result of this, Perisic was often an unattached passing target during attacking transitions. Pavard was unable to catch the strong-running Croatian winger, although Perisic's early progress lacked genuine quality. Croatia have been behind in every knockout game prior to the final, and this trend continued as Mario Mandzukic flicked the ball into his own net via Griezmann's dipping free kick. For a brief spell after going behind, Perisic drifted inside, often acting as a second striker behind Mandzukic. With the center forward dominating in the air, Perisic could latch on to loose balls and attack centrally. Perisic soon brought life back to Croatia with a deserved equalizer, as a set-piece situation again caused problems. The Croatian attackers won the first and second ball, before Perisic's wonderful first touch evaded the press of N'Golo Kante. Hugo Lloris had no chance against a superb left-footed strike from the edge of the box. It wasn't long before Croatia were again behind, as Griezmann calmly dispatched a controversially awarded penalty. They once more reacted well to going behind, however, as their passing combinations were proving too much for France's aggressive yet disorganized pressing midfield. Paul Pogba often charged forward, hoping to regain possession or at the very least force Rakitic and Marcelo Brozovic backwards, but Perisic's inside movements combined with Rakitic's superb splitting passes carved through their midfield block. Croatia's intensity in possession remained in the second half, as Rakitic continued to drive forward from deeper positions and Mandzukic dropped short to add to France's problems. Neither of the France centre-backs could follow the Juventus striker, as this would create too large a central gap for Croatia to exploit. Both wingers, Perisic and Rebic, also positioned themselves on the outside of the French full-backs. Should either centre-back have stepped out to follow Mandzukic, the pair were ready to make blindside runs in behind. Their backline, however, was again penetrated. After Pogba scored France's third, Croatia naturally threw additional players ahead of the ball, with the central midfield trio in particular moving very high within the central lane. If anything, however, this overcrowded once vacant spaces. With France converting to a deep block, the Croatian midfielders were on top of one another. They lacked an agile attacker who could penetrate lines with dribbles to complement their fine orchestrators in midfield. Minutes later, Croatia's World Cup appeared to be over, as the speed and directness of France on the break proved too much, with Mbappé striking home from distance after disguising his shot behind centre-back Domagoj Vida. Hugo Lloris' embarrassing error less than 5 minutes later allowed Mandzukic to grab a shot goal back and rekindle hopes of a comeback. Andre Kramaric's introduction provided an additional link between Croatia's central midfield and front line. With no Kante to organize centrally, the space between France's central defense and central midfield was often vacant and too easy to access. Croatia, though, couldn't breach the last line of the French defense. Despite firing crosses into the penalty area and taking multiple shots from distance, they lacked invention and creation in the final third. A brave but exhausted team saw their first ever World Cup final end in a 4-2 defeat.